Everybody's quiet. Thank you very much. Welcome to the board, and thank you, trustees, for attending. I do appreciate it. At this time, I would ask that we call the meeting to order, and Clerk Burns call the roll.
My pleasure. Trustee Holder. Here. Trustee Gale.
Here.
Trustee Augustine. Here. Trustee Katina. Here. Trustee McCarty. Trustee McGee. President Kukla.
Here, and Trustee McCarty and Trustee McGee both indicated that they were unable to attend tonight due to illnesses. So we hope speedy recoveries for whoever's involved. Thank you. As everybody knows, we are still following social distancing and face covering requirements. Please keep on your face mask. I appreciate it. We have a nice crowd because we have great news with a interim police chief and a new firefighter being sworn in, so that's wonderful. At this point, I would ask that everyone stand, that we can be led in the pledge by Brett Karsky and his wife, Jessie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Didn't forget the words.
All right, I have a lengthy announcement before we get to the enjoyable parts, and it relates to our operating capital improvement budget. The village will conduct the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget public hearing. This is what we're doing right now, and we're calling it to order. The public hearing represents the conclusion of a 9-month-long process. The process began in September of 2020 with an audit, progressed to November of 2020 with a pre-budget development workshop that included pension funding and consideration of the preliminary property tax levy. In December, we adopted the final 2020 property tax levy, a workshop to discuss capital projects in February, and a workshop to discuss operating budgets was held on March 13th of 2021. The budget will not be considered this evening, but will be considered for adoption at the April 26th meeting. The notice of the public hearing has been posted and published according to state statute. Copies of the proposed budget document have been available for inspection at the Village Hall, the library, and posted on the village website since March 5th. We like to say the village budget is a living document and resident input is welcome throughout the year. COVID-19 pandemic has had a growing impact on the national, state, and local economy. At this time, the overall impact and the changing economic conditions resulting from COVID-19 still remain unknown, but I'm very happy to report that as a result of careful planning and resiliency of our business and residents, we're proposing a modest surplus of $31,000 at the end of the fiscal year 2021-2022, and a reserve level of 59.38%. Modest surpluses are anticipated for 3 of the 4 remaining years, with a fund balance over 50% of our targeted reserve range at the end of the 5-year period. Recognizing that the pandemic would impact households and businesses financially and in unexpected ways, the village board moved quickly to provide relief in many ways, including postponing planned increases in parking fines, postponing planned increases for commuter residential parking decals, extending the due date for vehicle and animal licenses, postponing the payment of business and liquor licenses, waiving the cost of sidewalk cafe permits, waiving penalties on past due water and sewer bills, and not opting to pass the water rate increase assessed by the city of McCook onto resident and business customers last year. Does anyone in the audience have any comments regarding the fiscal 2021-2022 operating and capital improvements budget? Okay. Manager Peterson, did anybody comment or submit any comments regarding the budget to you ahead of time?
No comments were submitted, Mr. President.
Thank you. With no further comments, the village budget public hearing is now closed. Again, final action on the village budget will be taken on Monday, April 26, 2021, at our next scheduled board meeting. Okay. First up, we have swearing in of Brett Karsky as our new firefighter. Let me get what we have here. So we're going to ask Brett and his family to come forward, and John will swear him in, and I'll just give a little bit of background. With the promotion of Chris Cox to lieutenant, a vacancy in the position of firefighter paramedic was created. The Board of Fire and Police Commissioners approved the appointment of firefighter paramedic Brett Karsky on March 17, 2021. With the appointment of Brett to the position, the fire department is at full authorized staffing. Brett previously worked at both the Plainfield Fire District and the Chicago Ridge Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic. He's been an EMT since 2014 and a paramedic since 2018. Brett holds an advanced technician firefighter certification with the Office of State Fire Marshal Division of Personnel Standards and Education, as well as Hazardous Materials Operations Certificate. He holds several FEMA certifications in basic incident management. He will, after performance-based orientation and evaluation, be assigned to the Gold Shift. We're pleased to present Brett Karsky to the Village Board, and we ask that you step forward to be sworn in. And I think Jesse, his wife, is going to have the honors of pinning on the badge, so terrific.
So, Brett, if you would, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brett Karsky,
I, Brett Karsky,
having been appointed to the office of firefighter
having been appointed to the office of firefighter
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and I will support the Constitution
and I will support the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will safely discharge
the duties of the office of firefighter
the duties of the office of firefighter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
I'd also like to thank Brett's parents for coming today, and it's a great privilege to have your son. I'm sure you're very proud, as we are proud of him, and happy to have him joining the village family. So welcome and thanks. I also have welcome to three newly elected people that are in the audience and will be joining us, not next meeting, but the meeting after that. And those are the two trustees, Mike Matucci and Peggy Peterson, one election, and then Paul Saladino, who will be replacing our village clerk as the village clerk. So congratulations to all three of you on your recent election. Again, congratulations to Lou Gale on his election, and to Shawana McGee, who joined me in the election.
And your modesty left yourself out that you were reelected as village president. So congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. And then in 2 weeks, we'll have the opportunity to recognize Trustee Holder, Trustee McCarty, and Clerk Burns for their great dedicated service these last 8 years and really to the village for decades. So we'll look forward to doing that. Again, everybody will be sworn in on May 10th. I also want to congratulate all the neighboring elected officials. Great job to everybody who ran. And I'd like to recognize the efforts. The Park District had four very qualified people for 3 spots. The school boards, both the grade schools and the high schools, had several qualified candidates running. And I think it's great that people wanted to get involved. And I express congratulations to the winners. And the library. The library had an uncontested election, or it wasn't, I believe, and that's great that they're serving. We enjoy working with them. Boards and commissions. It's about the time of the year where we start looking to fill some openings, and some people decide whether or not they want to be reappointed. If you wish to serve, feel free to shoot me an email or Village Manager Peterson an email. You can also submit a letter of interest or a resume. Doesn't need to be too formal. Whatever you want to express some interest. A lot of the commissions are filled or have a waiting list, but I'm happy to add your name to the mix. I do want to thank all the board and commission members for their time and dedication to serving our community. Beginning today, all residents of Illinois 16 years and older are eligible to receive the vaccine. I know Trustee Gale got it today. I've had it. I know several people up here have had one or both. I think anybody who's had it would encourage everybody to go and try to get online and get it. It's relatively painless, and even if there's complications, they seem to be fleeting. So I would encourage everyone. I myself went to the Forest Park facility that the county runs. It's along with either the National Guard or U.S. Army. They do a fantastic job, well organized. I would recommend anybody looking to seriously consider that location in Forest Park on Roosevelt. It's fantastic. All state-supported mass vaccination sites, pharmacy partners, and others are now taking appointments. If you are looking for more information, you can go on to www.coronavirus.illinois.gov. Residents who do not have access to or need assistance navigating the online services can call the Department of Public Health toll-free at 833-621-1284, and they will assist with booking an appointment. Currently, every region in the state's in phase 4 of the 5-phase Restore Illinois mitigation plan. A bridge plan phase from 4 to 5 will serve as a transition period once the governor allows and specific metrics are met. Bridge phase will allow for higher capacity limits and increased business operations. Again, the best way to slow the spread and demonstrate our care and concern for others is to get vaccinated and continue to wear a mask. More information regarding the Restore Illinois mitigation plan and vaccine administration is available on our website. We also want to recognize Amita Lagrange Hospital, which was named one of the world's best hospital by Newsweek. 22 hospitals in Illinois and only 300 hospitals nationwide receive this honor I'd congratulate Bill Holder. Trustee Holder has served on hospital boards, the Memorial Foundation Board. It's really a great organization. They do so much for the village. We appreciate their work, and we do want to make sure that they know that we're recognizing them for their fine work. It's truly, as far as an improvement, they've put a lot of capital into the hospital. They're focusing on certain areas and really excelling on everything they do.
Thank you, Mark.
I also want to thank all our residents for their continued support and commitment to retaining connections with all aspects of the community by supporting our businesses, our social service agencies, our medical professionals, first responders, and each other. And this week is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. That's our 911 dispatchers. As many know, we host the 911 dispatch for our town, as well as Lagrange Park, Western Springs, and Countryside. The 911 staff just does a fantastic job. They're well-trained and provide service to people truly in need. So thank you, and we want to recognize them during this week. Going on, it's springtime, or almost springtime. It's getting a little warmer in the air. The 2021 Farmers Market is scheduled to begin Thursday, May 6th. It'll again be on Harris Avenue between Lagrange Road and 6th Avenue. It'll be similar to last year, consistent with the Illinois Farmers Market Association and the Illinois State COVID guidelines. Masks will continue to be required. Overall capacity will be limited, and market vendors will be socially distanced. In addition, they won't be able to give out samples to be consumed because we're trying to keep the masks on. Earth Day is April 22nd. To celebrate, the Village of Lagrange and the Lagrange Environmental Quality Commission invite you to participate in a scavenger hunt to find ways that Lagrange is going green. Find as many items as you can and bring your results to Denning Park, which is on Willow Springs Road across from LT, on April 18th between 12 noon and 2 p.m. The first 50 people will receive an oak tree sampling to plant in their yard, courtesy of the MWRD. Again, for more information regarding green initiatives in Lagrange or to access the scavenger hunt form, please visit our website. Moving on, I'm going to need John Burns' assistance here, but we are happy to welcome Mark Truex, is that how we pronounce it? Mark, president of the Lagrange Historical Society. I'd invite Mark to step forward. I think he has something for us, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm excited to learn.
I do have something for you here, but I need to go over a few things first. Once again, I am Mark Truex, president of the Lagrange Area Historical Society. I am here to present a significant historical document that we have come across at the Lagrange Historical Society. But before we get to that, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you a little bit more about who we are. We are a historical society formed in 1972, and we have a mission statement that goes, the purpose of the Lagrange Area Historical Society is to bring together those people interested in the history of the Lagrange area, to provide a means and facilities for the study of the history of the Lagrange area, to acquire, collect, preserve, and display material and literature relevant to the history of the Lagrange area, and to encourage education, preservation, and the promotion of the history of the Lagrange and Lagrange Park area. Now, we try very diligently to uphold these statements in our mission statement, where we have for those that aren't aware, we have the Vial House, a historic house on the corner of Lagrange Road and 47th. Often people miss us. They just think we're a regular house, but we are there, located there. At this location, we utilize the house to put on exhibits, to display our collections of the historical significance of Lagrange. Currently, we have our collection of A Century of Fashion, 100 years of fashion from 1879 to 1979. All the clothes from women in the Lagrange area were donated to us. We also store all of our collections at this location. Always working on getting a solution to that. And we also have a research center there. So in our research center, we have a filing system where we keep track of any news articles or anything that comes across our desk for every address in Lagrange and Lagrange Park. If you live in the Lagrange area, you can come and visit us and you can see your file and find out what we have on your house, the history of it. We also have a file for every organization in the Lagrange area, churches, or Boy Scouts, groups, you name it, we've got a file for it. And that's where my story starts, our research center. So not long ago, a local resident, Dave Wilkinson, came in to do research on Stone Avenue Station, trying to locate the original architect. Now, Stone Avenue Station was built, by David Lyman, who was the son-in-law of F.D. Cossett, who founded this town. So while he was trying to do research, he, a couple of volunteers who are dedicated to the history of Lagrange said, we have some old documents here. So Marilyn Faber, who recently passed away, and Nancy Skog were at the museum at the time, and they pulled out some stack of old documents and handed it to him and said, here, look at this. This may help you with your research. Well, after closer inspection, Dave Wilson discovered that one of the documents that we had appears to be the original village ordinances from when the village was first formed. We weren't really sure about this, but we carefully took it as an old document, and with Dave Wilkinson, Judy Burns, and Nancy Skog, we carefully scanned and took care of the document and put it into safe storage, into an acid-free box with acid-free paper, tried to take really good care of it. And then at that point, we asked John Burns to investigate as our village clerk to find what is the oldest record that the village has for village ordinances. Well, he took a look. The oldest book he found, I believe, dated back to May of 1886. Well, the village was formed in 1879, so obviously there's a gap. So the entry in our book, the first entry, is dated August 4th, 1879. And that's just 30 days after the first village election, which was on July 10th of 1879. And the last entry in the book is October 21st, 1885, shortly before the book that he has started. So it looked like it could be a good fit. And then within our, if any of you are familiar, on Lagrange's 100th anniversary, the Centennial, Lagrange Historical Society put together a book here called the Lagrange History Centennial Book. In this book, it states that the original ordinance was lost due to a fire, and assume it was lost within the fire at downtown Lagrange. We have a news article in the Historical Society that states, where I'm up here, that in October of 1886, there was a fire that started at J.C. Bowles Meat Market on Burlington. The fire spread to buildings on Fifth Avenue, which is now Lagrange Road. It is known that the village board would meet in a small office on Lagrange Road near Burlington. So I can't really verify the address, but that's what I got to work with. The minutes from 1879 and 1885 were presumed to be lost in this fire. Here, I got my glasses on, sorry. So as is documented in here. So if you guys are interested in this book, you can buy it at the Historical Society. If you look further into the book, we've been able to compare the handwriting from the clerk that was there in 1884 to 1885 and the clerk that was there from 1885 to 1886. The reason we can do that is because they're the same person. And they do match. So putting all this information together, we have concluded that this book must be the Missing Village Minutes book. And they would take the minutes and they would list the ordinances one by one in there. Unfortunately, we do not know how we came across this book, how it came to our possession. We often receive donations anonymously, and they're just dropped off. Marilyn Faber, who I had mentioned, was a strong volunteer at the Historical Society, had mentioned once before that someone had dropped it off saying they found it in their grandfather's basement and thought we should have it with a bunch of other documents. And that is, believe how we got it, but nothing's written down, unfortunately. This book provides a great history of Lagrange. We can see what the issues were back then and how they were managed. The first ordinance that's written in the book was actually a poll tax to help take care of the village streets. Back then, horses and carriages would kick up dust from the dirt road. This was not ideal for the clean community that FD Cossett had wanted. Water and oil needed to be applied to the streets to keep the dust down. Hence, our first ordinance was to declare that every able-bodied male between the ages of 18 and 55 had to labor on the streets 2 days a year or pay 75 cents a day for each day. Now, there's a ton of great reading in there, a lot of things. They had wooden sidewalks and the first liquor ordinance, and then there's like a emergency dog ordinance that went in. I'm not sure about that one. But I don't want to bore you guys. We have limited time here, I know. So I just want to state that preserving the history of a place through significant historical resources gives a community its unique character. Historic preservation provides a link to the roots of the community and its people. Overall, historic preservation adds to the quality of life, making it more livable. I feel privileged to be part of this historical preservation. Many of you have a brochure in front of you for the Lagrange Area Historical Society. I would absolutely encourage you to just become a member and help support us so we can continue to do what we do. We are continually collecting information, clipping newspapers, and putting it into files. It's a labor of love. We have many volunteers that come in and do it on a regular basis. It's been challenging with COVID, but we're still doing it. So, with that being said, I have for you here, oops, there's some papers. The first ordinance of Lagrange. And inside here we have a digital copy on a thumb drive, and I also have the index that we created that shows you what ordinances are in here and what pages to find them on. All right, so who do I present this to? There we go, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
And I'm dropping everything. I also have in here, before I walk up there, this is a revised ordinance book, quite fragile, from 1897. So this went into publication. This is a publicized book that we also had in the museum that we thought we would include with this as well.
Before you come up and while you're still at the mic,
Yes.
is that History of Lagrange book still available for purchase by
Yes, it
folks
is.
at
We have
home?
many of them at the museum.
You do. Okay, and when you come up, I have a gift for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, here we go. I'll let you bring this up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I assume you know where we should be putting this right next to volume.
That is for you.
Yes. Our current collection starts with Volume 2 in 1886. So this obviously supersedes that. And this is kind of a missing link, if you will, because these are the very first minutes, as Mark said, taken at this meeting, long before we did things the way we did. So everything is written kind of on ledger paper in script, or for those who aren't familiar with script, cursive, how you learn to write in school. And, they're quite informative. Many people who are researching, who want to write about Lagrange, actually come to the village, and Andre and her staff make those volumes available while they're here, so they could go in. Our previous fire chief, Bill Rudding, wrote a book about the fire department, steel men and wooden ladders. That book is also available at the Historical Society, and others who have written books. So the Historical Society is quite a resource. And Trustee Holder has just contributed something to add to that collection. He happened to email me earlier today, not knowing that Mark was going to make this particular contribution. So I can't recommend it more highly than Mark has. It's a real resource, and it's kind of under the radar. While I'm speaking, I'll just mention a couple of things upcoming. I do a couple of tours of Lagrange, and I'm going to be giving one May 16th called What's Right in Lagrange. And what's right in Lagrange is there's 4 homes designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. I'll also do a tour June 16th, which is 5th Avenue, Now and Then. And that is kind of the history of the downtown area. Starts at the Grange Road train station. So you could look on the Historical Society's website and look at those listings. So there's events all the time. Mark, I don't think there's any children here, is the best Santa Claus the village has ever seen. So when it's time to take your kids to see Santa, he's your man, but don't tell anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Burns. Paul Saladino's going to have some big shoes to fill there with all that, but I'm sure he's up for it. That concludes the president's report. Village Manager Peterson, is there a village manager's report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Works began its annual hydrant flushing program the week of April 5th and is expected to complete the work by the end of May. Crews plan to flush hydrants both during the day and night, Monday through Friday, depending on the location of the hydrant, traffic patterns, and other factors. The purpose of the hydrant flushing is to purge sediment which has accumulated on the bottom of the and to exercise valves to ensure their proper operation. Signs will be posted on streets notifying residents where crews will be working in advance of the flushing activities. Immediately following the flushing of your nearest hydrant, you may notice temporarily discolored water, which is due to the flushed iron and mineral sediments. While the water is safe, you should run your cold water faucets several minutes to draw in clear water prior to doing your laundry. The village's water quality meets all the standards established by regulatory agencies. And for more information regarding hydrant flushing and water quality, please visit the village's website. Also a reminder that spring cleanup will be held next week, the week of April 19th, on residents' regular refuse collection day, either April 19th or April 22nd. The spring cleanup day gives residents the opportunity on one day to set out an unlimited amount of household refuse. Residents are required to affix 2 special spring cleanup stickers in total to the waste set out for collection. Residents can also use 2 regular refuse stickers if more convenient. However, the hauler will not be able to refund the price difference. For more information regarding acceptable and unacceptable items, please visit the village website, www.lagrangil.gov. Thank you very much.
Andre, for the refuse day, are electronics included in that?
No, but there is a separate electronics pickup that you can participate in for a fee. There's a charge per item. If you call the hauler, they can give you a price for that.
But is there a single day in Lagrange that will be like next week? Is there a single electronics day or anything, or it's just call Flood Brothers and they'll take care of it?
Well, our contract with Flood Brothers potential for a special collection day. We haven't had one due to COVID restrictions yet. And so we will be working on a potential day for that. But in the meantime, residents can, as a part of their regular pickup day, arrange that with Flood Brothers if that's convenient.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Appreciate that. At this time, I would request that Clerk Burns read the items on the consent portion of the agenda.
Certainly. Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they have already been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. There are several items on the consent agenda. Item A, Agreement, Executive Recruitment Services Director of Public Works. Item B, agreement, risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plan. Item C, contract, fiscal year 2021, 2022, and fiscal year 2022, 2023 tree removal program. Item D, minutes of the Village of Lagrange Village Board of Trustees regular meeting Monday, March 8th, 2021. Item E, minutes of the Village of Lagrange Village Board of Trustees special meeting Saturday, March 13, 2021. Item F, consolidated voucher 210322. Item G, consolidated voucher 210412.
Thank you, Clerk Burns. And if you could read the item under the current business.
Under current business, this agenda item includes consideration of a matter presented to the Board of Trustees for action, and that is the appointment of Jason Cates as Interim Chief of Police.
Thank you, Clerk Burns. At this time, does anybody have any comments on items that are on the agenda? Seeing, what? I'm not ready for trustee comments yet, but I'm just asking for audience comments. We'll get to the trustee comments quickly. I don't see any comments from the audience. Andre, do you have any comments submitted?
No, Mr. President.
Thanks.
And I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Thank you, trustees. Yep. Now I think Trustee Augustine's ready to go.
Thank you, President. Sorry for stepping in there early. Two things. One, when we vote, as per my previous statement, I recuse myself from voting on the voucher items related to the village prosecutor. And secondly, and I think this would be for Andre, for the recruitment services for DPW, the group that we'd be looking at to assist with finding the best index person for this role. Did we do that same process with Ryan last time?
Yes, we did.
The same company?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I believe it was a slightly different name at the time, but it's essentially the same company. It has a new name now, but it is the same company.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you, trustee. Any other comments, questions by trustees on the consent portion of the agenda? Seeing none, Clerk Burns, if you could do a roll call vote, please.
Yes. Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Katina. Aye. Trustee Gale. Aye. Trustee Holder.
Aye.
There you have it.
And the consent agenda passes unanimously, which is teeing up my next job, which will be the current business. Which is why we have so many police officers here. It's for the appointment of Jason Cates as interim police chief. And so, again, for the public's information, with Police Chief Kurt Bluter's retirement from law enforcement in January, the village board has and continues to evaluate options for his replacement. While the evaluative process continues, the village considered prospective candidates to serve in the interim chief of police capacity. The interim chief of police will work closely with deputy chief and all members of the police department to execute assigned police department priorities, including staff development. Jason Cates, formerly of the Oak Brook Police Department, is identified as the candidate who would best meet the village's needs at this time. He possesses excellent qualifications, understands and has demonstrated leadership in modern police management, and has strong communication skills. He has over 28 years of experience in policing, working his way through the ranks, including deputy chief of the Oak Brook Police Department for the past 9 years. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and graduated from Northwestern University Center for Public Safety School of Police and Staff Command. As this is a temporary appointment, the services of interim chief of police are proposed to be provided through an independent contractor agreement. As an independent contractor, the position will receive a weekly compensation rate, prorated for partial weeks of service due to vacation or illness. The position will not be eligible for benefits such as health insurance, paid leave of absence, or pension payments. The agreement will commence on April 13th and expire on December 31st, 2021, or at an earlier or later date determined both by Interim Chief Cates and the village. I'm pleased to present Jason Cates to the village board, the community, and the men and women of our fine police department for consideration as interim police chief. I recommend that the village board approve his employment agreement, or contract, I should say, to formalize his appointment. Should you concur, Clerk Burns will then administer the oath of office. So if we could have a roll call, or I guess a second on the appointment.
I second the appointment.
Thank you, Trustee Holder. I'm not sure, I'm going off script, but a roll call vote just to make sure we're doing everything right.
Certainly. Trustee Katina.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Holder.
Aye.
Terrific. And the employment or contract is approved. And at this time, I would welcome Jason to come up and be sworn in. What's that? I think they did, but I just signed in the wrong spot.
You would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jason Cates,
I, Jason Cates,
having been appointed to the office of Interim Chief of Police
having been appointed to the office of Interim Chief of Police
in the village of Lagrange
in the village of Lagrange
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and I will support the Constitution
and I will support the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Interim Chief of Police
Interim Chief of Police
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'd like to welcome some of the officers from the Oak Brook Police Department who came to congratulate Acting Chief Cates on his recent appointment here tonight. So thank you. We appreciate your service and to your community and when we work together on matters. So thank you very much. At this time, I would ask if there's any public comments regarding matters not on the agenda. Village Manager Peterson, did we receive any comments for matters not on the agenda?
No, Mr. President.
At this time, I'd ask if we have any trustee comments. Bill, you only have 2 more times, so use your time.
I'll go. I have 3 items, Mark. First, I know that we've had some issues with regard to a discussion about short-term rental, codifying the ordinances for short-term rentals. I would ask that we focus on that before it becomes a bigger problem here in Lagrange. These things I have seen proliferate in other communities, and while they're appropriate in certain environs, in the middle of a neighborhood, having revolving doors next door when it is the place that you live every day isn't always advantageous. So I would hope that we would codify those rules before they become an issue and not once they become a problem or we have to defend ourselves. Second, I want to ask the community to raise your hand and give back. Get involved in our boards. Get involved in our commissions. These boards and commissions, where I served for many years, before I became a village trustee, they're made up of neighbors just like you, and the focus is on Lagrange, to serve the village we all love and help keep our home the progressive, award-winning Chicagoland leader that it has been. It doesn't happen without people that care and want to make a difference. If you live here and you care, it's not a huge time drain. I did it when my kids were younger. It's not a huge impact on your lives, but it makes a huge impact on the quality of life here in Lagrange and helps maintain it at the high level that we all wish to maintain and expect. And the third thing is, I want to follow up on the comments made before by the Lagrange Historical Society and John, who did it so eloquently, and urge you all to support the Historical Society with both donations as well as visits. There is an amazing trove of historical information there, relevant to Lagrange, relevant to your home, even if your home isn't that old, maybe to that site. It's really cool what's in there. What I gave them this evening were stamps from the 1800s sent by Lagrange residents, including what I think is probably Kathy Dirk's great-grandfather. And, you know, there's really cool stuff in there. You will find it absolutely amazing. And I hope you'll support it both with your dollars and with your visits. They really do put on some great stuff, especially around the holidays. And thank you, John, for all that you contribute both to the Historical Society and also to the quality of life here in Lagrange with your tours and enlightening people that so much not only went on here, but still exists here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well said, Trustee Holder, and thank you again, John, for all your efforts. Trustee Augustine.
Thank you, President Kukler. Two things, and I apologize, President Kukler, if you mentioned the spring shopping stroll this weekend.
I didn't. I'm glad you brought it up.
Okay, great. Some of you may have seen this flyer around town. A whole bunch of our great locally owned businesses are participating in an event this Saturday, April 17th at 10 to 4. One-day only offers, giveaways, and prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope that as many of you that are around can get out and take advantage of this and support your wonderful local businesses. And the second thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot the information I had, we have two members in the audience here tonight, but the Community Diversity Group is another great organization within. And two of our members are back there waving their hands right now, Becky Lorenzen and Harold Gibson. And they have events ongoing year-round, and I've been participating more and more lately with them and gotten to know them, and they're a fantastic group. So just Google Community Diversity Group in Lagrange. You'll find out all about them. Join. It's another great group to join, be a part of, and learn about, and keep making this town the great place that it is. And thank you guys for continuing your efforts with that group. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Great comments. Grange Diversity provides a lot of services, activities, and information for all of our residents and a lot of our neighboring communities. And again, supporting local businesses. It's what Lagrange does so well.
How old is the Lagrange Diversity Group? 92. So 20 years. So not a flash in the pan, 20 years now. Super. Thank you. Yeah, I love the rally, and that Watch My Feet group is the bomb. Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Holder and Becky. I appreciate the comments. Hopefully, people were able to hear. The group started in 1992 and has been contributing to Lagrange since that time. Any other trustee comments? Seeing none, at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. The intention of the village board is to meet in closed session this evening under section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act. It's my intention to adjourn the closed session immediately afterwards and advise the village, and we will not be reconvening to open session as no formal action will occur during the closed session. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to adjourn into closed session and a second.
So moved?
Second.
Does anybody, trustees, have a comment or question regarding this? If not, I'd ask all in favor? Oh, thank you. That's why we have the lawyer sitting here, our village attorney. Mark Berkland is keeping us on our toes. So I will ask for a roll call vote by Clerk Burns, please.
Certainly. Trustee Gale. Aye. Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Kutinek. Aye. Trustee Holder.
Aye?
And the motion passes unanimously. At this time, do we need any other motion before we go into closed session? All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And we will be back in 2 weeks for our final meeting with our current board.